positive. All right, well, I've had a chance to meet all of you guys, and I'm really happy to meet everybody and share my experiences. So my talk today is about the Bitcoin revolution, and we're in the midst of massive change and what 18-year-olds need to know. So if I were sitting in your shoes, what I would do to prepare myself, there's massive upside opportunity, a lot of things you need to do to hedge against risks that we'll talk about. So a little bit of housekeeping. So this is not advice. This is my own personal views and opinions based on my past experience. I'm not a Bitcoin coder, developer. I'm an early adopter and investor. So I'm a capitalist, so I'm looking at what is the upside, how do I profit, and how do I hedge risk and mitigate the downside. And as a bonus for all of you guys here, there's going to be a QR code at the end with my email address. Send me an email, and I'll give you a free copy of Brian Armstrong's very first book titled Start Breaking Free. So do that. So today's talk is going to be, part story, information, guidance. I'm going to talk about myself, my journey into Bitcoin, why you should be considering Bitcoin as an alternative new investment class. Should you put all of it into Bitcoin, or should you divest and diversify? That's something we can discuss. Opportunities to capitalize on the space, not only in Bitcoin, but in the markets, starting your own company, working for a company, challenges and risks out there, and what I see the future looking like. It's extremely bright, and you guys are at the ground level. So a little bit about me. I started my career back in '96. I came here to A&M. I remember that was right when the internet was just getting started in Rutter Hall, and the big thing back then was being able to send an email. So it's amazing how much we take that for granted, and it's amazing how much innovation has happened. Social media, we've got streaming, we've got blockchain, AI as well. But nevertheless, I took the traditional route, the standard route. I was pre-med, took all my medical school courses, did all my MCATs, got into Baylor for medical school down in Houston. And a lot of my colleagues and friends, they took the other route. They went to work for startups in the tech sector, Austin, San Francisco. A lot of them went to work for Wall Street. And so as a result, I built my medical career and I missed out on the internet. So you'll see later how I got back by investing in Bitcoin in 2012. But I was an MD PhD, was a bioengineering major at Rice University, and that's where my entrepreneurial career started. So I started 2 companies, stock investing, options trading, real estate investing. It was a great center of innovation, entrepreneurship, much that I see in College Station today, so much growth and potential in the Bitcoin mining space. And I was also fortunate to meet the now co-founder and CEO of Coinbase, Brian Armstrong. So we kept in touch. He introduced me to Bitcoin back in 2012 when he was starting Coinbase, and that's when I bought my first Bitcoin on Coinbase. Financial independence, 29 years old, retired early, 38 years old, and I wanted to make a bigger impact. I wanted to help others, talk about innovation, financial freedom, financial literacy. And so I started my company, Financial Freedom for Physicians. It's a media and consulting company where we talk about these key topics: technological innovation, blockchain, Web3, AI, metaverse, Bitcoin, all of these different terms. We're trying to spread awareness, get educated, try to create mass adoption of these new technologies, try to weed out the bad actors, the scams, and the frauds. And you can find me on social media. I'm all over social media. It's also on the QR code at the end. And this is my website and my email address at the end, and I'm happy to connect. So again, as a result of buying my first Bitcoin in 2012, I've ridden the ups and downs, got into Ethereum in 2017 early on, and the past 7 years has been how to incorporate Web3, AI, non-fungible tokens, blockchain into my books, my courses, my speaking engagements, and which is why I'm here today. Try to inspire you, try to get you guys to think about the future, what other opportunities out there. There's tons. So where are we today and how do we get here? Like John mentioned, he felt that something was extremely wrong after 2008. Most of you guys here are 18 to 20-year-olds, so you're a little bit young, you were probably born around the tech, the bubble, the dot-com bust, 9/11, Enron, WorldCom. But these events really shook me to the core, really made me question, do we trust government? Do we trust banks? Everything we're being taught, is this for them or for us? So it really taught me these concepts. And then, 10 years later, really, I think Bitcoin, the ideas, the concepts around decentralization, self-sovereignty, freedom, democratization, all of these really resonated with me. So Bitcoin is at its core, it's an ideology and it's a concept. It's a technology that has the potential to really shape in how we move forward, how we increase economic access and freedom and help the world and kind of redistribute the wealth from the top down to the many. So that's what it is. It's got important political, social, technological, economic, everything. It touches every single fabric of society. So I've lived through a lot of boom bust cycles, and I can tell you the amount of change and disruption over the last 20 years that will not compare to what we will experience in the next 5, 10, 15 years. What's going to happen with AI and ChatGPT, all of these things, it's really going to massively disrupt everything. So the last 20 years is nothing compared to what we are going forward. So if you are prepared, you have the right mindset, and you have the right skills to succeed in highly dynamic, changing environments, very disruptive environments, be agile, nimble, flexible, you can do very well. You can set yourself up for success in the next 5 to 10 years. So we're transitioning from an industrial labor paradigm to one of information, knowledge, and capital. So that's why we're seeing a lot of instability, geopolitically, economic, social. We just came out of a pandemic. There's an increasing wealth gap, climate change, aging population, who's going to take care of our parents, grandparents. And on top of that, so you have all this change, but then you have technological with Bitcoin, and you also have ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, robotics. All of these are going to be exponential upon exponential. So it's Reed's law. So Metcalfe's law is the network effects, which is like what you saw with Google, Facebook, and Apple. But Reed's law is exponential change upon that. So it's going to be increasingly, a lot of industries are going to get disrupted. People are going to lose their jobs. So learn how to use these technologies, learn how to embrace them. A great book that I highly recommend is called The Fourth Turning, that really describes what is going on in our society. And the main thesis is that there's a cycle every 80 to 100 years, and it's predicated by a time of crisis. So right now we're seeing crisis after crisis on all levels. And usually there's demand for more order, changing paradigms, and at the end of it is a calm and a stability in a period of rapid growth. So right now we're in the fourth turning, expected to be ending around 2030, but this fourth turning is really important because it's great for creatives and entrepreneurs, founders, artists, musicians, all of these things that are really creative, the rise of the creative class. It's the best time to be in that field. So that's why I'm talking to you guys, because you guys are the future. You have a lot of youth and energy and ideas, and you guys can go on to change the world. And what we're seeing is symptoms of a larger problem. Check out this book by Ray Dalio, and he's talking about the U.S.'s transition from the center of geopolitical influence. Now it's being shared by countries such as China, and in the future I predict India as well. So, and it's every country, if you study history, has a rhyme. So if you look at Rome, Greece, UK, all these countries that were on the top and now supplanted, it's because of rising debt, excessive money printing, rising populism, and emergence of global competition. So right now the US is trying to crush the competition. They're trying to ban it as opposed to innovate and create and support. So really, that's what we really focus on, innovation. So I want to zoom in on, like this is the global macro, but I want to focus on what Bitcoin can do for money and financial institutions, because if you have financial independence, you have financial freedom, financial stability, that makes your life a lot easier. You're able to do the things you want to do, pay for goods and services, take care of your health, your family. Money doesn't solve everything, but it solves a lot of problems. So that's why I'm really focusing on finances, economics. Of course, your emotional, social, your physical health is really important as well. But if we took at it, so money is always, it's an idea, it's something that's man-made, it's a construct, it's how we exchange value. It's determined by consensus. And so in the past, we had rocks and shells, salt, right now we have gold and paper, and now we're transitioning to digital. So these are the characteristics of money. I'm sure most people are aware of this, but realize that in all things innovation, they go through a series of 6 phases. So first is everything is becoming digitalized. So from the physical, it's becoming demonetized, so things are getting cheaper. Think about the internet and what we could do. Dematerialized, it becomes democratized, and then in the beginning it becomes deceptive and then becomes disruptive. So you can see that with Bitcoin, 2012, 2013, they ignored us, then they laughed, and then now they're trying to really fight it. So, and really it's all about value, exchange of value, and all these services. So how does Bitcoin fit into all of this? So really, we've been on the fiat standard, ever since, the early 1900s, the Federal Reserve, we're on the petrodollar, US dollar is the world's global reserve currency. That's changing. A lot of countries are divesting away from it. They're realizing that dependence on the United States is really risky and dangerous, especially after what happened in Russia. And what benefits the United States doesn't hurt other countries. So they're trying to get away from this. So Bitcoin has the potential to solve this problem. And the reason why is because there's a great book, these 2 books that I really highly recommend by, it's called The Bitcoin Standard and The Fiat Standard. And the problems why we have so many banking crises, social crises, financial crises is because of fiat. Because fiat inherently, it's unfairly transferring wealth from the masses to the elite. And what happens is you get inflation, you get wars, you get debt, you get wealth inequality, and it's also centralized. So the Federal Reserve, they can print money, they can adjust interest rates. You can see what happened to the 5 banks collapsed in 1 week. In the past, the worst banking crisis since 2008 was Lehman. That was 1 bank, and it took a couple years. But now things happen at Twitter speed, light speed. So 5 banks failing in 1 week is, that's unheard of. So.
Hey Chris, can I add something? This is really good. This is really good. But on the war thing, when I figured this out, it blew my mind. So countries used to go to their citizens to sell war bonds to pay for war. So it was a way of citizens supporting war. Today, we don't do that. We just print money. That's how wars are paid for. That's why citizens don't care. It's just print, and that's what causes more and more and more wars. You just print, pay for wars, and there wouldn't be nearly as many. But it just blows my mind.
And it's really, I was talking to a few students, and the reason why the government doesn't want to outlaw Bitcoin, one is they want to get into Bitcoin before you do, so that they can profit before you do. So that's why they're trying to, ban it and censor it and all of that. So as long as they get a piece first, then it's okay. But if the masses get it before them, then there's a problem. So Bitcoin solves this problem because it's immutable. You can't change the blockchain, right? It's decentralized. Nobody, I think Satoshi Nakamoto, him, she, or them, were genius because, you see the SEC going after decentralized parties, but they can't go after Bitcoin because it's like the internet, right? The only thing you can do is ban it, but then people will go elsewhere. You see the rate of adoption of Bitcoin is 2x that of the internet at the same age. And the hash rate continues to climb. So, China banned Bitcoin mining. They all moved to Austin, Texas, here as well. You can't stop what a good idea is. Immutable, you can't change it. You can't manipulate it. You can't do any of that. So that's why a lot of people are waking up, especially after 2023, all these banking crises, they're waking up to the idea that Bitcoin could be another way to store your wealth. In the past it was gold, silver, real estate, jewelry, all these, but now you can just, with a touch of a button, you can buy digital gold as a safe haven. So that's one of the reasons. The other reasons, so another great question I got was, it's technology, so it can be used for all these different use cases. So for example, in Latin America, where they use the US dollar to hedge against their hyperinflation, now it can be a tool for financial freedom because you can send payments, lightning speed, fraction of the cost. You don't have to wait. It's extremely more inefficient for the West. Us here we can use it as a store of value, as a unit of account, as a hedge against geopolitical risk, all of these things. So it has so many potential use cases. So and I really love the work that Brian is doing at Coinbase, because they're not trying to enrich themselves. Well, they will. I mean, they are, but they're trying to distribute and trying to disseminate this technology so that everybody can benefit from it. So, I mean, here are some real world use cases. So, especially hedge against geopolitical instability, unstable currencies. Bitcoin came onto the scene in 2013 with Cyprus, the country of Cyprus. They stole from their citizens. Hyperinflation, government confiscation, Venezuela, Turkey, banking system cutting off the Canadian truckers for donating, especially Russia, Ukraine, and now so the whole world is waking up to this idea that fiat centralized regimes are inherently unstable. But we can also look at it from the viewpoint of store of value. Payments can be used as an investment, tool for economic freedom, also energy and mining, which is really interesting. And especially with John's talk about how you can build apps on the Bitcoin blockchain, that's there's so much potential. I just got done with a conference in Los Angeles and Miami where they're talking about encoding media, like text, pictures, videos, onto the Bitcoin blockchain so that these things become immutable. You can't censor it, so you can't get cut off of Twitter. You can write these encoded on the Bitcoin blockchain, and these can be forms of media, new media, that nobody can destroy. So, and you can create your own following. You don't need these highly disruptive algorithms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of these things. So you can own and control your audience, your monetization. So that's some of the things. So this is kind of like guidance now. So opportunities in the space. So one is investor. You can dollar cost average, whatever. Keep in mind that it's extremely volatile, but the beta for Bitcoin compared to the beta for Bitcoin in 2013 is much less. So it's reached this area of mass adoption where, the volatility, over a 4-year period, you're going to see, 70 to 90% drawdowns, but then you have a run back up. So understand that these are all 4-year cycles based on the Bitcoin halving. So the rate of adoption, hash rate, all these are exponentially increasing, so you know that the price will increase as well. But just hedge again, understand that it's an extremely volatile asset. Don't put all of your eggs into it, but you should consider it. The worst, I think one of the best pieces of advice was the worst allocation you can have to Bitcoin is 0, because then you have no exposure to the upside. If you have 1%, 2%, you can lose that and still be okay. But if you have nothing, then the price of Bitcoin, explodes, then you're SOL. So, that's why, like this recent drawdown was 80, 90%. People are still holding because they know, 2024, 25, 26, it's gonna, the price will go up again. Start your own company. You can become an entrepreneur, developer. So I think you talking about working for TradFi, you can innovate within TradFi. You can work for TradFi, move into to DeFi, into crypto, start your own company, work for these companies. The space is really ripe for innovation, ideas, tons of business opportunities. Be a creator. You can write, talk, speak about these ideas, these concepts, network within these communities with like-minded communities, and really get involved, get in early. Like I was talking, when I was undergrad, all I did was pre-med stuff, which helped me with my medical career. But looking back, I should have taken more marketing and business courses and networking and just networking with other people. So it's really important to surround yourself with different ideas. If I hadn't met Brian, then I wouldn't have gone into Bitcoin and missed out on Ethereum and all of this innovation. So really surround yourself with different ideas and something that's different that people call a scam or fraud. Get curious, learn about it. You don't have to invest your money, but invest your time to learn about it. What is it about? And you'll be that much better. So like I said, the future is ripe. It's full of opportunity. It's bigger than when I started in 96, and it's just exponentially bigger. Of course, with challenges and risk, regulation, the beauty about Bitcoin is it's decentralized, so they can't really shut it down. Again, short-term volatility. Be careful of the bad actors, the frauds and scams. There's a lot of them, a lot of bad actors out there. And especially hedge for geopolitical risk. So there's a recent YouTube video from Balaji talking about the network state, but go on there. He talks about divesting into Bitcoin, self-custody, get into Bitcoin-friendly jurisdictions, Miami, Texas, El Salvador, and really self-custody. Do not put your Bitcoins on the centralized exchanges, not even Coinbase. I just buy off Coinbase and send to your ledger. That way, if Coinbase goes down, your Bitcoin is still fine. And always, always, always verify. So, like I said, trust is a big thing. That's why we have the problems with banks and counterparty risk. And so this is what I think the future looks like. One is Bitcoin commodity. It's a store of value. It's a medium of exchange. Is it going to replace the dollar as the world's global reserve currency? I'm not sure, but it will play a part in payments and the financial system, whatever piece of it. I see global mass adoption. People are starting to wake up, and especially innovation in all of these areas: payments, mining, Web3, especially media, music, gaming, film, insurance, real estate, and contracts. And there's probably other applications that we haven't discussed. So this is my email right here. It's Chris. You can just screenshot it, or you can scan the QR code. Send me a message, and I will send you a free copy of Start Breaking Free by Brian Armstrong. And with that, I thank you for your time and attention. I want to thank Korok for giving me this opportunity, and I'm really happy to share my experiences. And I'm happy to answer